The film begins with a priest named Cotton Marcus, a man who has completely lost his true faith in God. Years ago, when his son was born with health problems, Cotton prayed again and again, hoping God would heal him. But in the end, it was the doctors who treated his son. After that incident, Cotton's belief slowly changed. He stopped trusting in miracles and started trusting more in science. And once he lost his belief in God, he also lost his belief in the devil, demons, and every kind of paranormal phenomenon. To Cotton, devils did not exist. He believed people simply created stories about demons because they could not understand mental illness, trauma, or fear. In his mind, every so-called possession was just a human problem being blamed on the devil. Cotton Marcus was also the son of a highly respected senior priest. Because of that, many people trusted him deeply and believed his exorcisms had real power. But the truth was, Cotton had been performing fake exorcisms for years. He would create a dramatic setup, convince the victims and their families that the demon had been expelled, and leave them believing they were cured. Strangely, even though the exorcisms were fake, many people actually felt healed afterward. Because of this, Cotton's confidence grew stronger. He believed there was no devil involved at all. Whether the problem came from fear, trauma, or the human mind, he felt that his fake exorcisms were still helping people in some way. But even though he was charging large amounts of money for these exorcisms, deep inside, Cotton was tired of living this lie. His wife supported him in everything, but Cotton had finally decided that he would never do anything like this again. During this time, Cotton meets two filmmakers named Iris and Daniel. They want to make a documentary about exorcisms, demons, and spiritual possession. Cotton openly tells them that demons do not exist, and that exorcism is nothing more than a psychological trick. He admits that, in the name of exorcism, he simply convinces people that the devil has left their bodies. And because they believe it, they begin to feel normal again. But now, Cotton wants to expose the truth before he walks away from it forever. So, he agrees to make the documentary with them. He also agrees to perform one final fake exorcism on camera, so that people can see how easily these things can be staged and stop blindly believing in them. After assembling the documentary team, Cotton travels to a remote village, where a farmer has called him to perform an exorcism on his daughter, Nell. On the way, Cotton gathers information about the area and learns something disturbing. The village has many people who are connected to a strange cult. This cult is said to worship the devil and perform dark rituals in his name. Some rumors even claim that they sacrifice children and human beings to please the demon they worship. Cotton does not believe any of it at first. To him, these are just another set of fear-based stories created by people. Still, he continues his journey toward the farmer's house. On the way, Cotton meets a young boy and asks him for Nell's address. But the moment the boy realizes Cotton is a priest, he suddenly starts throwing stones at his car. Cotton finds this reaction very strange, but he does not take it seriously. Soon after, they reach the farmer's house. There, Cotton realizes that the same boy who threw stones at him is actually the farmer's son and Nell's brother. Cotton ignores the boy's strange behavior and begins listening to the farmer. The farmer explains that his daughter Nell has been behaving strangely for the past several days. He claims that she even killed his horse and one of his hens. Then he takes Cotton inside and shows him Nell's clothes, which are completely covered in blood. But when Cotton finally sees Nell, she appears completely normal. She does not look violent, possessed, or dangerous. She seems like an innocent 16-year-old girl who is quietly carrying some kind of emotional pain. After some time, Cotton speaks with Nell privately. He learns that she recently lost her mother, and that this tragedy has deeply disturbed her. Cotton asks her if she killed the horse or the hen, but Nell denies it. Then she adds something unusual. She says that even if she had done it, she does not remember anything. This makes Cotton realize that Nell may be suffering from emotional trauma, memory loss, or some kind of psychological condition. Nell then takes Cotton to her room and shows him several paintings. Among them, he notices a painting of Mary, a Jewish queen whom some people consider an important spiritual figure. Cotton quietly observes everything, trying to understand Nell's state of mind. After this, Cotton speaks again with the farmer and gathers more details about his wife's death. From everything he hears, Cotton becomes more convinced that Nell's strange behavior is connected to grief and family trauma, not demonic possession. Later, Cotton heads toward his car to collect the items he uses for his staged exorcisms. At that moment, Nell's brother approaches him and tells him that he does not want Cotton to stay there or perform any exorcism. The boy explains that his sister is perfectly fine and that she does not need any exorcism. Deep down, Cotton feels the same way, but because he has already started the whole act for the documentary, he cannot say the truth openly. So, Cotton simply laughs it off and walks back inside, ready to perform the final fake exorcism of his career. After bringing all his things inside, Cotton begins the exorcism. He also asks them to bring a tub of water and places Nell's feet inside it. Then he tells everyone to close their eyes so he can say a few prayers. But in reality, Cotton is not praying at all. While everyone's eyes are closed, he secretly pours a chemical into the water. Nell's brother notices this trick, realizes the exorcism is fake, laughs to himself, and quietly walks away. When everyone opens their eyes, Cotton shows them the water boiling inside the tub. It looks as if some supernatural power is reacting through Nell's body, but actually, it is only a chemical reaction. Cotton pretends that the boiling water is caused by demonic energy. Then Cotton tells everyone that Nell is possessed by a demon named Abalum. He says he needs to go to his car and bring more items for the exorcism, but in truth, he only goes outside to smoke a cigarette. There, Nell's brother meets him again and says he has no problem with Cotton anymore. He tells Cotton that he can do whatever he wants because he has already seen the truth. Cotton is a fake priest, and the exorcism is completely staged. For the first time, someone has caught Cotton's lie directly. Cotton becomes nervous, but the boy tells him not to worry. He says he will not tell anyone about it. After this, Cotton takes a tape recorder and a few more items, then returns to the room. He sets up everything carefully, calls Nell inside, and begins acting as if he is truly performing an exorcism. Cotton pretends that the demon is repeatedly attacking him. He struggles, shouts, and creates a dramatic scene in front of Nell's father. Then he acts as if he is fighting the demon himself and finally saving Nell from its control. In reality, everything is fake. But the performance is so convincing that Nell and her father believe the demon has truly left her body. After finishing the act, Cotton collects his fee and leaves the house with the documentary team. They plan to return home immediately, but while traveling, it becomes dark outside. Because of the darkness, they decide to stay in a nearby hotel for the night. Cotton feels very happy that day because he has earned a large amount of money from the fake exorcism. After some time, everyone goes to sleep, but in the middle of the night, they suddenly wake up after hearing a strange noise. Shockingly, they see Nell lying on the bed inside their hotel room. The door is still closed, and there is no way Nell could have known the address of their hotel. This makes the situation truly terrifying, and for the first time, even Cotton becomes frightened. Soon, Nell's condition gets worse. She begins vomiting badly, so they quickly take her to the hospital. But after checking her, the doctors say that nothing serious has happened. She had only vomited without any clear reason. At the hospital, Cotton calls Nell's father. But instead of being worried, the farmer angrily questions Cotton. He asks why the exorcism had no effect on his daughter. Cotton finally tells him the truth in a different way. He says Nell does not need another exorcism. She needs a doctor. But after hearing this, Nell's father becomes furious. He says he does not trust doctors because doctors could not save his wife. This becomes a strange contrast to Cotton's own life. Cotton lost faith in God and started believing in doctors and science. But this man lost faith in doctors and now believes only in God. Understanding the situation, Cotton quietly leaves the hospital and goes to meet the local priest. He explains that Nell badly needs medical help, but her father refuses to accept it. Cotton asks the priest to speak with him, hoping that maybe he will listen to another priest. But the local priest tells Cotton that Nell's father may not believe anything they say. He says he has already discussed this matter with him many times, but the man no longer trusts doctors at all. Meanwhile, we see Nell again, and her father is now trying to control her by force. When Cotton reaches the house, he finds Nell's father locking her inside a room. Nell's brother is also injured. Nell's father explains that Nell attacked her brother with a knife while they were playing. They quickly try to take the boy to the hospital, But at that moment, the boy secretly gives Cotton a piece of paper. On the paper, he has written a warning. He tells Cotton not to leave his sister alone with their father. After reading this, Cotton becomes horrified and immediately suspects that something may be wrong inside the family. Cotton quickly goes to Nell with the documentary team and starts questioning her about her father. He asks if her father tortures her, scolds her, beats her, or does anything bad to her. But Nell calmly denies everything. She says nothing like that happens and that her father loves her very much. Cotton becomes confused because Nell's answer does not match her brother's warning. After putting Nell to sleep, they leave the room. But suddenly, they hear a crying sound coming from inside Nell's room. It sounds exactly like a baby crying. When they go inside, they discover something disturbing. Nell is in the bathroom, imitating the sound of a crying baby. At the same time, she is pushing a pail into the water, almost as if she is pretending to drown a child. With great difficulty, they manage to control Nell and bring her back to bed. While looking around her room, they notice one of her drawings. This time, Nell has painted a dead cat. Meanwhile, Cotton realizes that he had left his recorder in the room. He picks it up and starts listening to the recording. Suddenly, he hears Nell speaking to someone in Latin. This shocks everyone because Nell does not know Latin at all. If she has never learned the language, then how is she speaking it so fluently? This strange recording begins to worry even Iris and Daniel. For now, they decide to stay inside the house for the night. After all, Nell's brother had warned them not to leave his sister alone with their father. In the middle of the night, Nell wakes up again. This time, she secretly steals their camera and slowly goes down into the basement. There, something horrifying happens. Nell attacks the family cat with the same camera, killing it brutally. Blood splatters everywhere, and the camera they were using to record the entire documentary is also damaged. Because of this, a large part of their documentary footage is lost. After that, Nell comes toward Cotton, almost as if she is going to attack him next. But suddenly, Cotton wakes up. He somehow manages to overpower Nell and takes her back to her room. After this, they realize their camera is missing. When they go downstairs to search for it, they find the cat dead in a horrifying condition. This disturbs everyone because the cat has died exactly the same way Nell had shown in one of her paintings. Now, they start looking at Nell's other paintings more carefully. In one painting, Cotton is shown holding a cross, while a huge fire burns in front of him. In another painting, Iris and Daniel are shown lying on the ground with their throats cut. Since everything Nell paints seems to happen in real life, Iris and Daniel become terrified and say they want to leave immediately. But Cotton still refuses to believe in possession. He tells them that demons and exorcisms do not exist. According to him, Nell must have killed the cat herself, and they are only getting scared because of the paintings. While they are talking, they hear strange noises coming from Nell's room again. This time, Nell is speaking in Latin to someone. But when they open the door to check who she is talking to, they find no one inside. They lock the room again. But as they do, Nell looks at Cotton and gives him a strange, wicked smile. At that exact moment, they receive a voicemail from the hospital. The hospital informs them that Nell's test results have come back, and the result is shocking. Nell is pregnant. This terrifies everyone because Nell is still underage. The first thought that comes to Cotton's mind is Nell's father. He remembers the warning note from Nell's brother, telling him not to leave Nell alone with her father. So, Cotton immediately decides to confront the farmer. But Nell's father strongly denies it. He says Nell is still pure and that nothing like that has ever happened to her. Instead, he claims that a demon must have done this to her. He believes this pregnancy is connected to the birth of the Antichrist, a great evil that is trying to enter the world. Hearing this, Cotton becomes furious. He thinks the man has completely lost his mind and shouts at him. The farmer also gets angry and tells Cotton to leave. He says Cotton failed to cure his daughter, and now he will fight the demon himself. After saying this, he leaves and goes to his wife's grave, where he sits down and begins praying. Meanwhile, strange noises start coming from Nell's room again. Cotton becomes worried that her father might try to kill her in the name of saving her. So, Cotton tells Iris and Daniel that they must take Nell and leave immediately. But when they open Nell's door, the lights suddenly go out. Then they see something impossible. Nell is sitting on top of the wardrobe, in a place where no normal person could have climbed so easily. When Nell sees them, she growls in a strange voice and suddenly jumps down to attack Cotton. Cotton barely manages to defend himself. Nell starts moving like an animal, using both her hands and legs in an unnatural way. Her face, her voice, and her movements make it look like something truly evil is controlling her. At that moment, Nell's father arrives. Seeing his daughter in that terrifying state, he immediately tries to kill her. But Cotton stops him and saves Nell. Cotton tells him to wait and promises that he will perform a real exorcism this time. For the first time in many years, Cotton is no longer pretending. But because he has only performed fake exorcisms for so long, he struggles badly. As the exorcism continues, the demon's control over Nell becomes even stronger. Nell's body begins to twist in a painful and unnatural way. Cotton finally asks the demon who it is. The demon replies, Abalam. Cotton is shocked, because Abalam is the same name he invented earlier during the fake exorcism. Cotton then asks the demon where Nell is, and what it has done to her. The demon replies that Nell is burning in the fires of hell, and that Cotton will soon burn there too. Cotton finds this answer strange, but he continues the exorcism. Then the demon makes a terrifying offer. It tells Cotton that if he stays silent for 10 seconds, it will leave Nell's body. Believing this might save her, Cotton stops speaking. But this becomes his biggest mistake. The demon begins counting every second of Cotton's silence. At the same time, it starts bending Nell's fingers with terrible force, breaking one finger for every second that passes. Seeing Nell suffer in unbearable pain, Cotton can no longer stay silent. He immediately resumes the exorcism, realizing that the demon has only been playing with him. When Cotton begins the exorcism again, the demon suddenly laughs and says something strange. It asks him, "Do you want the comfort of your body?" But the way it speaks makes Cotton suspicious. Cotton realizes that if a real demon was inside Nell, it would understand everything clearly. But Nell's words sound confused, like a frightened child repeating something she does not fully understand. Because of this, Cotton starts to believe that Nell may not be possessed at all. Instead, someone may have done something terrible to her, and that trauma has damaged her mind. So, Cotton stops treating her like a demon and starts speaking to her like Nell. Slowly, Nell begins responding as herself. For a moment, it even feels like she was never possessed, and everything was just a reaction to pain, fear, and trauma. Nell speaks with Cotton for a long time. After hearing everything, Cotton goes outside and tells her father that Nell is not possessed. There is no demon inside her. He explains that Nell could not handle the shock of her mother's death. And on top of that, a boy who works outside may be responsible for her condition. At first, Nell's father refuses to believe Cotton. But when he questions Nell directly, she herself tells him everything. Hearing this, her father is completely broken. Still, one of his biggest fears is finally gone. His daughter is not possessed. There is no demon controlling her. Meanwhile, the local pastor arrives at the house after hearing that an exorcism is taking place. When Cotton explains the situation, the pastor also convinces Nell's father that the boy Nell mentioned is not a good person, and that he may have planned everything. After this, they decide that Cotton and his team should leave. The pastor and Nell's father will handle the matter from there. Cotton, Iris, and Daniel start driving away. But on the way, they notice the same restaurant where the boy Nell mentioned works. They decide to stop and question him about what he did to Nell. But then comes a shocking twist. The boy says he never did anything wrong to Nell. In fact, he says he could not have done anything like that because he is not interested in girls. Hearing this, Cotton becomes completely disturbed. If the boy is telling the truth, then the pastor lied to them. And if the pastor lied, then there must be a much darker reason behind it. Cotton immediately realizes that something terrible is about to happen. Without wasting a second, he turns the car around and drives back to Nell's house. When they enter the house, they find something horrifying. Satanic symbols are drawn everywhere in blood. Nell, her father, and her brother are all missing. Cotton and his team are confused and terrified. Before they can call the police, they hear strange noises coming from the forest. They follow the sound, and what they see there leaves them completely shocked. Almost everyone in the village is gathered in the forest, performing a dark ritual. Even the local pastor is there. Cotton finally realizes the truth. The pastor was never a true pastor. He is the leader of the cult. This cult worships Satan. Nell's father has been tied up and left hanging on one side, while Nell is lying on the other side, above a fire, suffering in terrible pain. During the ritual, the cult members begin worshipping Abalam. Nell screams in agony, and then she gives birth to a strange red baby. The cult members take the baby and throw it into the same fire over which Nell had been placed. Suddenly, the flames rise violently, and Cotton realizes that this is no ordinary fire. This fire is connected to Abalam, the demon they have been worshipping. Cotton finally takes out his cross and walks toward it, ready to fight the evil in front of him. At that moment, the scene becomes exactly like Nell's painting. Cotton is standing with a cross in his hand, facing a huge fire. Iris, who is watching everything from behind, remembers Nell's second painting. In that painting, she and Daniel were shown lying dead with their throats cut. Realizing that the painting may also come true, Iris becomes terrified and runs for her life. But the cult members catch her and kill her by slitting her throat. Daniel manages to escape for a short time. But while running, he suddenly runs into Nell's brother. Without hesitation, Nell's brother attacks him with a knife and slits his throat. Only then do we understand the final truth. Nell's brother was also a member of the cult. That is why he wanted Cotton to stop the exorcism and leave. Cotton has already disappeared into the fire. And now, Daniel is also killed. With this, the story ends in a horrifying way. The cult members win, the priest loses, and the saddest reason is that Cotton, the priest who came to expose fake exorcisms, had already lost his own faith in God.